Today, crew, on Captain's Vlog, we're going to be preparing ourselves a delicious mushroom pizza with caramelized onions and pancetta. Guys, anytime you're going to make a delicious pizza, you've got to start off with the right crust. And in this video, guys, the most important thing we're going to do is make a delicious Neapolitan pizza dough. We're going to start off with 600 milliliters of water, guys, about 2.5 cups. Now, the water should be room temperature. We're also going to be using 1 kilogram of flour. Guys, here in Canada, I use a good all-purpose flour for this. We're going to add 30 grams of salt to that, about 5 teaspoons. And just a little bit of yeast, guys, 1 to 2 grams of fresh yeast. You can always add red wine to your recipe, but make sure you're drinking it. Don't put it in the dough. To mix up the dough, start off by putting your room temperature water in a bowl that's going to be big enough to handle all the ingredients. The next step is to add in the salt and give it a good swish around so it gets well mixed. Use your hand. It's a great way to do it. Now, guys, it's critical that you don't mix salt and yeast because the salt will kill the yeast. So what you want to do is put about 10% of your flour into the bowl and stir it up to dilute the mixture so that it can accept the yeast. Once you add the yeast, guys, go ahead and give it all a stir so that mixture gets nice and sloppy. It should be a very loose consistency at this point. Now what you're going to do, guys, is you're going to just slowly add a little bit of flour at a time, making sure that the flour absorbs all of the water. Don't go too fast on this step, guys, or you'll end up with a clumpy dough that's going to be hard to work with initially. Once your dough comes together into some kind of a loose mess, guys, turn it out on the bench and start your kneading process. I'm going to say that 5 good minutes of kneading will probably get the dough to where it's got to be. But if you want to be sure that it's at the right point, guys, get out your thermometer and stick it in. It should be between 23 and 26 degrees. If it is, your dough is ready. Finally, guys, go ahead and cover up that beautiful dough ball with a damp cloth and just let it rest on the bench for about 2 hours. After 2 hours, you can start making your dough balls. Aim for about 250 grams per ball. I find the easiest way to make these balls is to stretch the dough along the palm of the hand and just tuck it under so you're shaping a nice smooth surface. All right, crew, so we let the dough rest for about 2 hours under a nice damp cloth. And what we've done is we've rolled them into the dough balls, as I showed you guys with my hands, where we kind of cut them together and stretched it out until you had these beautiful round balls of dough, about 220, 250 grams each for the Napolitana pizza. Now, guys, what you need to do is seal that into a nice tight container. I don't have a flat pack container of any sort, so I'm doing something a little different. I've taken this nice big cooler, I've put a cookie sheet in the middle of it with a piece of wax paper, and then I've set the balls of dough on top. I've got 6 beautifully perfect shaped balls of dough. Now I'm going to take those, I'm going to bring them down, I'm going to put them into my basement where it's, 17, 18 degrees Celsius, and I'm going to leave those overnight to come to a nice beautiful rise, guys, and the flavor and the maturity of the dough is going to be absolutely perfect. You know what? Do the magic of video. We'll see you guys in about 18 hours. All right, crew, through the magic of movie and filmmaking, we are now 24 hours later. This dough has been maturing, guys, in this cooler. I haven't opened it up yet because I wanted you guys to see it when I did. All right, you ready for this? Oh, snap. Oh, I wish you could smell this, guys. It smells so good. These are perfectly risen and look absolutely incredible. All right, so first off, I'm going to put a little bit of flour in the pan here, guys. This is just going to keep that dough moving the way it should and to keep it from sticking to the pan. Some people will use like a corn flour or something like that. I just use a basic all-purpose flour. If you guys were wondering, the pizza dough is all-purpose flour. It should be 12% protein flour. You shouldn't use a bread flour for this kind of a pizza. And as you guys saw, it's 1 to 2 grams of yeast. I put about 2 grams of yeast into here. It was a little more because I was really hoping for that rise, especially without a lot of the heat and the humidity you might get in the summer months. So I put the 2 grams vice the 1. But you guys, it's always going to be a little bit different. With yeast, it's always a bit of magic that goes into it. So all I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to take one of these beautiful balls of dough and I'm going to start to spread it out in the pan. Now, guys, you just want to use the ends of your fingertips to slowly push it out, guys. Don't rip or drag or pull on it. Just use your fingertips and let it naturally stretch out from the center. Start at the center, work your way out, and it'll slowly start to form that circle you're going for. I mean, the shape of the pizza really doesn't matter. It's about consistency and getting it set up right. Now, if you do get it to a point where like there are areas that aren't stretched as much as you want, give it a bit of time, guys. Just leave it for 5 or 10 minutes. Let that dough kind of, do its magic with the yeast. And then you'll be able to, again, start to reshape it. All right, crew, we're ready to prepare our first pizza, guys. And because we couldn't get our hands on basil to make the classic margherita, what I want to try doing is taking some classic Italian ingredients and making ourselves a little pizza. So what do we have available to us? Of course, as I mentioned, we got the beautiful pizza sauce. We've got some olive oil. Guys, we've got some mushrooms that we just sauteed up. We have some caramelized onions available to us and some beautiful pancetta, guys. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and assemble this pizza, and I'll be back when it's ready to go. All ready to go in the oven. All right, guys, so we're gonna leave that in there for about 7 minutes before we have a look. We've got it at 450 on convection right now, which should get the crust a nice even rise. All right, crew, so here's the final product. Delicious pizza with some onions, mushrooms, some of that beautiful pancetta, some absolutely dynamite mozzarella, guys. It was almost creamy. It was so good. And then that beautiful sauce that we bought at the Italian deli. And guys, this crust, you can taste the maturity in the crust. The ability for it to sit and go through the process for 24 hours is where the magic happens. You know, they say there's 4 ingredients when you're making pizza dough: water, salt, flour, and yeast. But in fact, guys, there's 5 dynamite ingredients, the 5th one being thyme. Thyme is what's gonna make that taste so good, guys. Follow the recipe. You guys can do this. Don't get too worried when you're making something like dough, guys, because the worst case scenario is you mess it up and you lost $3 worth of flour. So guys, give it a try. I think you're gonna love the results. And until next time, guys, stay safe and keep your stick on the ice.